A roofer can stand where I'm standing, look up for about 4 seconds, and tell you how old that roof is. Not guess, tell you. Within a couple years from the ground, without measuring anything. I spent months trying to teach a computer to do that. I got close enough to be impressive, and never close enough to sell. I'm Jason. This is the story of a number I couldn't hit, and what it taught me about the difference between a good demo and a product. The product was simple to describe. Photos of a roof go in. Age, condition, remaining life, and a replacement cost come out. Insurers want that. They're carrying risk on hundreds of thousands of roofs they've never looked at, and sending a human to each one costs more than the information is worth. I knew exactly what good enough meant. 3 years. If a roof was really 15 years old and the system came back with somewhere between 12 and 18, that's a product. Underwriters can work with 3 years either way. And I had something most people building this kind of thing don't have. A roofer who was interested. He fed me real jobs, photos, addresses, property details, and the answer, how old that roof actually was. He wasn't paid for any of it. He was curious, and I'd promised him free use of the thing once it worked. So I did the thing you're supposed to do. I sat down with him and asked how he actually does it. Not what he looks at. How he decides. Granular loss. Curling at the edges. How the flashing sits. Which slope faces the afternoon sun, because that side ages faster than the rest of the roof. Then I built the system around his method. It didn't just accept photos. It demanded specific ones. The angles he said mattered, of the slopes he said mattered. And I gave it everything else I could find. Location. Historical weather for that address. Hail events. Anything that wears a roof out, I fed it. This was the version I thought would work. It was outside 5 years, 80% of the time. Not outside 3. Outside 5. And that's the 80%. Some of them were off by 10 years or more. A 10-year error means it looked at a roof that needs replacing next spring and told you it had a decade left. Or the reverse, told an insurer to worry about a roof that was fine. And before anyone tells me I should have tried a better prompt, I spent months on the prompts. Hundreds of hours. I tried different models, different providers, every combination I could get an API key for. They all landed in roughly the same place. Which is the clue I should have read faster. When swapping the model doesn't move the number, the model isn't what's limiting you. And here's the part that took me a while to accept. The reports read beautifully. Fluent, specific, professional. It would describe the granular loss on the south-facing slope in language a roofer would recognize. And then it would be 9 years wrong. That's the trap, and it's worth saying plainly. Fluency is not accuracy. A model that can describe a roof expertly does not therefore know how old it is. But the deeper problem was the thing I'd been most proud of. Encoding the roofer's method. He could tell me what he looks at. He could not tell me how he weighs it, because he doesn't know either. 20 years of roofs went into that 4-second glance. I captured his checklist. I didn't capture his judgment. Those are not the same thing, and the gap between them was about 7 years. While I was digging through this, I did find something in my own code that I want to show you, because it's a mistake worth stealing. If the model's answer didn't come back as valid JSON, my code returned a default. 15 years old. 10 years of life left. Confidence, not 0.5. And it logged that as a warning, not an error. A warning in a service that writes thousands of them a day. I wrote that to stop the app crashing. What I'd actually built was a machine that produces a confident, plausible, completely invented answer and doesn't tell anyone. Confidence not 0.5 was mine. I made the system claim it was half sure when it hadn't managed to read the answer at all. A fallback that fails loudly is a feature. A fallback that returns a plausible number is a liability. Mine never lied to a customer because I never sold this. But that's luck, not design. If it had shipped, nobody would have found it because the wrong answer looked exactly like a right one. I killed the product. Not because the technology was bad, because I couldn't get it inside 3 years. And outside 3 years, nobody's going to pay for it. So here's what I actually took from it, and it's the thing I'd want if I were you. Decide what good enough is before you build anything. As a number, write it down, because impressive and sellable are different machines, and they look identical in a demo. 10 years off feels amazing when you're showing your friend. It's worthless to an underwriter. If I'd written down 3 years on day one, I'd have known within a fortnight that this wasn't going to work. Instead, I found out after months because I kept measuring against how good it felt, and the roofer still does it in 4 seconds from the driveway. If you've killed something that worked but not well enough, I'd like to hear about it. You can find me at realheisenbug@gmail.com. I'm Jason. Thanks for listening.